This is shit. It's shit.
Your community is out in force, hitting up our streams and socials with hate messages, threats, and snide comments.
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
Orbiters turn shit toxic instantly, and it sets me off. Your community is f***ing rabid, and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument.
That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction.
Your community is f***ing rabid.
The level of stupid that I just had to receive,
Your community is f***ing rabid.
that's awful. No, eat my entire ass.
Frittata!
You guys are absolutely insane. We are now less than 3,000 subs away from 90K, the magic number that's supposed to get me dug out of this hole. I mean, this channel's rapid growth is not something that I could have ever predicted because I didn't really think people would like this garbage. Over 1.4 million views this month, over 7,000 new subs. I want to take time to thank all of you, but at the same time, you're all actively looking to deport me because you saw me drink a Modelo, so I don't know if I should be thankful or if this is one of those situations where I'm a dancing monkey to you. I'll say thank you when you guys dig me out of this damn hole. Yes, I know, all the blood rushing to my head could potentially kill me, but while we're at it, legislators, politicians, entire governments, and the gaming industry are trying to kill video games. If you're not informed, which, I mean, at this point you practically are, because everybody who's pretending to care about this subject is blasting videos like they're blasting loads all over their dirty socks, DSP style.
He's blasting cum everywhere.
But in this case, it's actually a good thing, because Stop Killing Games is one of the biggest consumer movements that I highly recommend every single person who has passion for this hobby we call gaming needs to support. Hell, at the very least, take a look at it. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement advocating for the preservation of video games, specifically targeting the practice of publishers rendering games unplayable after they've been sold. This happens when games rely on publisher servers to function and the publisher shuts down those servers, effectively destroying the game for all players. The movement aims to challenge the legality of this practice and promote consumer rights related to game ownership and preservation.
Just standing up for my rights as a consumer.
You're goddamn right. Had this movement taken effect years ago, and I mean years ago, we would still have Mewtwo's Monsters Online, damn it. We'd still have Club Penguin. Yeah, okay, sure, maybe online functionality wouldn't be there anymore and people couldn't play it online, but that's where the importance of an offline mode comes in, instead of outright destroying these entire games. This is a sentiment I'm pretty sure the majority of gamers can agree with. Things that people love for years suddenly vanish from existence because devs can just pull the plug on the server and never preserving what they had created. There is a sea of lost MMOs and other online games that at one point did exist but had the plug pulled on them. And this movement is led by Ross Scott. You might know him as the YouTuber Accursed Farms. And this man has been very passionate about this, understandably so. The man is on a mission to do exactly what the movement is titled: Stop Killing Games. In a world where online connectivity is practically mandatory for a lot of titles that currently exist, this movement aims to challenge the legality of it, because when you purchase something, especially a video game, you should have every right to still own said video game. But that's not the day and age we're living in anymore. You don't actually own anything. And that's proven when purchases are invalidated when developers decide to shut down their servers. If you cannot see the cause for great concern over this, then this is not the video for you. You should click off and go find a different hobby. But for those of us who love video games, it is crucial that not only video games remain preserved, but that your purchase over said product cannot be invalidated and no longer exist. Legally, this should not be happening. And yet it does with things like The Crew. Remember that game? Hell, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Even Concord, all right? As much as Concord was the laughing stock of the industry, it's still crucial to ensure games like that get preserved for the better or for the worse, or so people can look at it years later, scratching their heads wondering what Sony was snorting. It's not a matter of whether you like these games or not. It's a matter of the principle and your right as a consumer to the ownership of a product that you paid full price to quote unquote own. But that's the problem. These games are designed with an expiration date. They are designed to one day go offline forever. The crazy part is the legality of this is not tested in most countries. Most governing bodies don't take it serious, in spite of the fucking fact that the video game industry generates more revenue than both music and the movie industry combined. It is a global economic powerhouse, surpassing basically every form of entertainment. So you're goddamn right, it should be taken serious. And that's where you gotta put respect on Ross here, because he is punching way above his weight class, and you gotta admire the guy for doing that. Movements like this can only be started by individuals who truly have a passion for the hobby and understand it with years of experience and all the insight. Your average politicians, on the other hand, probably still think the Nintendo 64 is the latest console out, which is why a petition was formed specifically for this. I will leave a link down below and a link to Ross's channel so you can get even more information on this matter, because the guy breaks it down in autistic detail, and I'm just left floored at everything I'm hearing. It's a really serious matter that I think people should take 1 hour out of their day to at least be informed on before they make a decision. Keep in mind that the petition is region-based, so if you are a citizen elsewhere, you can't sign on the behalf of UK residents or European citizens. But as we speak, the European Citizen Initiative has 517,000 signatures. The UK one has 25,000. And the French one, well, I didn't even bother. It's the French. For us Americans, if we want anything done about this, we're gonna have to turn to the FTC. You can keep track of every action that has been taken by Ross in this page. And as you can see, his work is quite extensive. The man has filed multiple complaints and petitions to all parts of the world. And I'm honestly amazed that one guy has been doing all of this. And it's crucial as many people all around the world participate as possible, because there is a deadline for all of this. The UK petition closes on the 14th of July, and the European one closes on the 31st of July. We are nearing the end of it. And I know I mainly consist of an American audience, but if I can get the attention of any of you European viewers or UK viewers, any small fraction of it would make a huge difference to the petition, so that no consumer ever loses access to their purchase is in the best interest of every single gamer out there. And you know it is. But in spite of that, there are still those who seek to misrepresent and manipulate and lie about what exactly this movement is. Personally, I don't think that's hard to believe, because I've seen nearly every face of evil out there, and nothing surprises me. Pirate Software, the real subject of the video. For once, we get to see what the face of the individuals who oppose consumer rights looks like, and this is it.
Little birdie arms, they're no thicker than a cigarette. I could smoke them little arms.
I've never liked Pirate Software, mainly because Alex liked them, and well, unfortunately, usually if Alex really likes someone, that means they actually suck, and it's only a matter of time before we find out. And my gut feeling was right about this guy. Dude gave me a bad impression months ago when he false DMCA'd an indie developer and threatened to sue because that person supposedly made a joke about him in their game. That's a long story in of its own, and I'll leave a link to the best video covering that in the description so you can check it out. And that video comes from The Other Frost. Personally, I thought that was a good glimpse into Pirate Software's character and who he is as an individual, because this man's ego knows no bounds. There's nothing more destructive than an individual who is so committed to being right that he has convinced himself against all odds that he is the only correct one and everybody else around him is crazy. Of all the voices out there to speak against the Stop Killing Games initiative, Pirate Software was one of them. Yeah, the supposedly most pro-consumer guy on this website took a stance against one of the most pro-consumer movements out there. And the way he proceeded to do so was by completely framing it as if what Ross was advocating for was to force developers to keep servers up and maintain online servers forever.
I don't understand. The Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is.
As you can clearly see, that is a disgusting misrepresentation of what the movement is trying to achieve, and it has been corrected and stated numerous times. What makes this misinformation even worse is the very fact that Pirate Software here has been vocal against the movement for over 10 months, with this first video opposing it having over 1.2 million views. That is over 1 million people he blatantly misinformed 10 months ago. Here we are 10 months later, and he's continuing to do this. And what's more, he's no longer just giving his opinion. He is now doing it on a personal level. Yet, if you go over to the petition, as we can see here, which is clearly pointed out in the video, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to consumers. That is blatantly a lot more broad than solely narrowing it down to single player games, which is exactly what Pirate Software is laser focused on. No, this movement is to ensure developers can provide a fully playable and fully accessible version of said game when server support shuts down and developer support is no longer there. That way, what they have sold to you, no matter what it is, single player, multiplayer, always online, the whole aim is to ensure that you aren't left with nothing. End of life plans for people to still own what they purchased. Whether that's turning over the SDK to the player base to allow players to do whatever they want with the game and allow them to create whatever content or support they want long after Valve is gone, like they did with Team Fortress 2. Examples like that are what this movement is aiming to accomplish. And that's the problem with Pirate Software, is he's looking for where it specifically mentions this is focused on single player games that are always online, when from the beginning it's obvious as fuck that this encompasses all video games, as it should. And that's where it doesn't make sense to me. That's where I don't understand where Pirate Software's issue comes in play. Isn't it better that it covers all games specifically and not just single player? Because then that would ensure all video games in general remain preserved.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
See, and that right there is what pisses me off, because Pirate Software is clearly intentionally misrepresenting what the movement is. 10 months ago, he got backlash for his video. He told people, all right, I'm actually going to take my time looking into it and study it more. And this clip here shows that he's obviously not even bothering to pay attention, because he is so laser focused on his way being the right way that he won't actually lend a single bit of his attention to Ross's video. Now you're probably wondering, why is he doing this? Because it's so obviously on purpose. Because this next clip is where he goes full mask off, as he says himself.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Douchebag of the year.
Douchebag of the year. And there we go. No matter how much you keep publicly denying it online, telling people you're not responsible. Here, you are taking responsibility because you actively encouraged people not to sign the petition. All based on a simple misunderstanding. Well, I'm putting misunderstanding in quotes because I did a little research on you, Mr. Pirate Software, and I'm beginning to take notice that this is all out of your own self-interest. Because for those of you who don't know, Pirate Software here is actually a developer for a game.
YouTube feed, Pirate Software Thor.
Hey, everybody.
Who I'm super pumped to share this with. Thor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really, really excited for this. You know, it's one of the things that I've always wanted to do after running my own game studio and going off and saying, like, maybe one day I'll start my own publisher, but I'm more than happy to sign on with you guys. What you're doing is amazing, and what we're going to be able to do together is even better.
That's right. You have a game developer telling someone advocating for consumer rights that they're stupid, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure his petition doesn't go through. Gee, this certainly isn't a bad look. Oh no, it gets even worse because it turns out Pirate Software here at one point was working for Blizzard, thus proving that maybe you can get Blizzard out of the gaming industry, but you can never get Blizzard out of the game developers. In general, if you've noticed, it's always those former Blizzard employees that are so toxic, but this self-righteous, pompous attitude, similar to that of Randy Pitchford, who was talking down to gamers who didn't want to pay $80 saying you weren't a real fan. It's easy to advocate on a surface level, but when it comes to staying committed to this, that's where the mask slips off. That's what separates Ross from Pirate Software. One pretends to advocate for consumers, the other has actually spent his life doing it. And here we are now, and you're trying to undo that. You are actively working against the self-interest of gamers because you are compromised. You are a game developer. And then it gets even worse because when asked if Pirate Software could attempt to talk to Ross and have a proper discussion on this, here's what he had to say.
You consider reaching out and talking to Ross about it? No. And the reason why is because I found his entire statement over the YouTube incredibly disingenuous.
Twig boy!
Look at this little bitch. He is blatantly running from the conversation because he knows that he has intentionally misframed it and does not want to be confronted on how poorly he misrepresented what Ross is trying to accomplish here. After all the name calling, after all the insults, after actively encouraging people to not sign the petition and to advocate being against it, he can't even give the man 5 minutes to talk. After all, he is the first one to fling an insult, the first one to attack Ross's character and the movement, and he's too chicken shit to confront him about it. What's more is Ross gave you a grace period of like 10 fucking months. For 10 months, he let your video sit there misinforming people. See, the thing that really bugs me here too is that you can tell Pirate Software fully understands what Ross is against, and that is the destruction of games that customers have already been sold and purchased with no end-of-life plans. The reason I know this is because of this clip right here, where Pirate Software's best rebuttal to what the whole situation is about boils down to, well, games aren't being destroyed.
Gaming isn't in need of saving. No, it's not a form of planned obsolescence. It's called the game no longer being profitable and we turned it off. No games are being destroyed here. These are live service games.
What? Not only is that obviously not true, but it proves once and for all, and it's conclusive to me, that there is no misunderstanding. You know exactly what Ross is fighting for here, because you're brushing up on it right now, meaning that yes, you were informed, and when you finally arrive to what the whole thing is about, your answer is that's not an issue. Games aren't being destroyed. When there is plenty of recent games that we can list that prove this isn't true, games that have outright been taken offline forever.
Demand from people in the gaming industry where live service games should live forever, whether in the hands of the developer or otherwise. And I can't get behind that shit. I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I have no problems with the end of a video game.
See, I wish he started his big YouTube video with that message instead of deleting it. Instead, he presented himself as pro-preservation and not wanting the medium to die out.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out. And it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this.
So he doesn't want games to die out, except he's fine with that. I think there's some cognitive dissonance going on there.
That right there was the nail in the coffin for me. When somebody is not genuine in what they are saying, it's so easy to tell because there is constant contradictions, or they're always forgetting what they said less than even 10 minutes ago. There is no consistency in his arguments. Now here's the thing that annoys me the most about this guy's character. Instead of talking to the man who he's actively arguing against, he turns to talk to Moist Critical. He will talk to anybody except the person he is taking a stance against. How pathetic is that? This little twig boy has to turn to Daddy Moist Critical to hear him out. Let me just bring up one thing, okay? Is it any coincidence that both Grumps and Pirate Software at one point both worked on the same game for the same company? It's proof that Blizzard employees never change. This is merely scratching the surface of a much larger topic, because I highly encourage people to go check out both videos. Go and check out Accursed Farms and go and check out Pirate Software's video in order to get a full grasp of the situation, because then some of that drama spills over on Twitter, some of it spills over on YouTube, some of it spills over onto Twitch, and it's messy and hard to keep track of any of it, but the man has received his fair share of criticism from Mudahar, Tectone, Moist Critical. Oh, even Actman came into bat and got immediately blocked by Pirate Software on Twitter. The real arguments are a lot more in depth, and I'm giving you a simplified version because I really want to respect the original creators and I want you to watch their videos, even if you disagree with either one of them. It's worth watching and being informed on because I'm not doing this story justice. I haven't even brushed up on his responses on his YouTube page and his Twitter page, which expose even more about how just disingenuous this guy is and how stubborn and unwilling he can be to admit that he misrepresented, misquoted, and misinformed people on exactly what Stop Killing Games is about. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. If you want to see more on this subject, let's get this video to 3,000 likes, and I'll see if I can whip up more, and I'll do a follow-up video on the atrocious responses. That being said, I'll see you in the next video.
Sucks ass.